Shalom, Israel. How's everybody doing this morning? Um, just had a few little things that I wanted to discuss. I woke up this morning today in the spirit, and I was thinking about a few things that was going on over the past weekend. It's a lot of shootings going on. It's a lot of people just running around. It's just wild out here in the streets. So I was going through the word like I'm normally do, and from last night up until this morning, the spirit was just resting on me just to be able to express something. The things that we seeing right now. To tell you the truth, this was not God's plan at all. But in order for us to figure out God's plan, we have to search, we have to seek, and try to find His face as much as possible. We have a better way of moving within ourselves. We don't have to move the way we're moving right now. Just because we're seeing the things that we see, not saying that we are joining it, but we're not trying to do nothing to stop it neither. I understand that we are born from sin. We not superheroes, but we are godly like beings. If we was made in the image of God and in His likeness, and He gave us a task, or your occupation, the way you know your occupation when you go to your job, when you know your occupation as far as you being a parent, a mother and a father, that occupation. But what about your occupation as far as saving your neighbor, or stopping the madness that's going on around us? These things that's going on right now, again, it was not planned. It's not something that God said, yo, listen, I'm going to just give y'all a whole earth. I'm going to create heaven and earth for you. And everybody just kill each other off and that's it. Nah, there was a thing that happened, So, like I said, I woke up in the morning. I had the spirit on me. I wanted to express a couple of things that was going on. Maybe so you could be able to understand for those that's actually going through it. Those people that's getting shot, that got killed over the weekend. You even got people nowadays that's killing people over Bible scripture. People that's out here trying to talk the word and, put forth correction to people to get them to understand the things that in the way that we're living as men is not right. These people are getting, they shooting at people now. So not only can you just be a regular person, but if you are out here, you talking the Bible and you talking of God, and if somebody doesn't want it, they willing to shoot at you for that too. So you're not just going to shoot at me for my clothes now. You're shooting at me because of a Bible. Back in the day, that was a thing. If you wore a certain color inside a neighborhood, you got shot at. Now it's if you come in and you preaching a certain God, you getting shot at. It's just madness, So I just wanted to bring forth some understanding to those that is looking at all of this and saying, damn, why is this going on? Who's going to stop this? When does it stop? Tell you the truth, these questions that we have within ourselves, these questions were asked before, and there was an answer to it. And this is why I say, we have to seek. We have to find, we have to search God's face continually every day. The things that's going on now is only going to get worse. So we're going to go into Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 5. And now, go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. Now, this is God talking to Isaiah, and He's letting him know what's going to happen and what He's going to do to this vineyard, this thing that He created. And before I finish verse 5, I'm going to read from verse 1 to verse 5 so you can understand about this vineyard and you can understand exactly the thing that's going on, particularly pertaining to us as a people, as a whole. This is Isaiah chapter 5, verse 1. Now, I will sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. Verse 2. And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine and built a tower in the midst of it and also made a winepress therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. So understand that this man who has this vineyard, planted this vineyard, and it's in a very fruitful hill. So, where everywhere you can be seen. So now that I did this particular thing and everybody is looking at this fruit and knowing the man that actually hedged this vineyard, built this vineyard, labored it and fashioned it with his own hands, this man right here expected it to bring forth goodness, grapes. But instead, these grapes that came about, they brought forth wild grapes. Look at us today. You look at this earth today, everything is wild and out of control. It's all types of iniquity going on in the world. And because of this iniquity is wickedness, wrong, and sin. Either you're going to do all three, or you're going to do one of the three, or you're going to do two of the three, but it still involves around wickedness, wrong, and sin. And because of these three things right here, this can bring forth something wild. That's why I said out here is right now, I had to do something, because when I was reading this, I'm looking at it like, yo, look at today. Just a couple of days ago, between New York City, everywhere else in the world, they catching 2 or 3 bodies a night, left and right. Somebody getting shot. Somebody got stabbed. Somebody got kidnapped. Again, these things right here wasn't prescribed. He didn't expect for everybody to do this particular thing, because I left you with something. Not only did I create man, I also gave you a commandment. So in order for us to not continue to become or bring forth any more wild grapes, I actually have to figure out the man that built this vineyard and the things that he chose to put in it, and figure out, let me see what that's about. Let me figure out if I could be able to at least stop the wild grapes. And if I can't stop the wild grapes, the next set of grapes that's going to come about, let it just be pure. Right? These are things that we can do. We are able to do these particular things. You have eyes to see. You can clearly see that the things that's going on, it's something that's brewing. But this is not God's plan. God is not saying, I created man and get ahead and kill each other off. That's not God's plan. It's the imaginations and the proudness that we have. You have certain people that just don't know how to understand. It's not willing to understand. They don't have the patience to willing to understand a thing, to see what's going on. This is verse 3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, between me and my vineyard. So here it is. He's letting you know, judge between the situation of what I brought forth, exactly when I created the first man, and how from that point on, all the way up until this day, you guys are still wild. When you read this Bible, you read the fact of the wickedness that's going on. Yes, I understand that we are born from sin, but if you're telling me that we're born from sin and this Bible right here is not going to help me, if you never tried it, how do you know? So here it is now. If you judge between the men even the men that's puffed up and think they know so much, to the person that's lowly and understand the thing, judge between me and my vineyard. Judge between the things that you're seeing right now. What more could I have done? I gave you a law. I gave you statutes and commandments, and I showed you and I spoke to you through fire. That should fear you already. And if that didn't fear you, I told you I was going to raise up one of your brothers among you, the ones that was part of iniquity, wickedness, wrong, and sin. And he's going to start to talk righteous. And if you see that, come on, man. Why wouldn't you want to start to change up and realize there is a different alternative for us? But Satan is always going to try to run us over, man. He always going to try to, manipulate our minds and always puff us up and give us that imagination. When you have an imagination in your heart that's not of God, to do the things of God, to do anything of righteousness, it's Satan, man, that's actually building your head up and got your head on a cloud to make you think that being wild is the way to go. This is sick, man. So you got to judge between these particular things and look at it. Is this the way God prescribed it? Did God actually plan for this to be like this? And if it's not, if the answer is no, then what is the answer? What are we supposed to be doing? What man can clean this up? Because he didn't say everybody judge between me and my vineyard. He said Jerusalem and Judah. My people, the choice people that I put into this vineyard. I put a choice group of people, and those people, I want you to judge between me and my vineyard. The thing that I just did and the thing that you're seeing going on right now, do you feel like though this is right? Are you representing me, your God, right? You know what I'm saying? Verse 4, Salakia. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? So he's letting you know, what more could I have done? I could have what you want me to come down here and hold your hand through this? You want me to come down there and beat you with a rod? Is that the only way you're going to be able to understand? Clearly, that's not going to work neither. I told you, I'm going to put 4 types of destructions on the children of Israel. I'm going to put the famine. I'm going to put the pestilence. I'm going to put the snare, and I'm going to put the sword. The famine is the shortage of bread, or it's going to be the shortage of word. Pestilence is a disease or a plague. How many of us got cancer, diabetes, and things that of this nature that you know of people that have? A snare is a noose to capture a live animal. You have to allure it. So how many of us done fell into the alluration of the things that we thought that was glittering? Everything that glitters is not gold. Our parents at least told us that. But yet, obviously, that didn't sink in. And then the sword. Again, like I said, over the weekend, so many people done got shot just for the littlest of things, of nothing. So clearly, when I see these particular things, what more could he do for me? Coming down here and him dying for me, that didn't do it neither. So what more can he do for me, right? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. So I'm letting you know, at the end of the day, what more could I have done for you? When I thought that it was going to bring forth grapes and do these particular things, use my word and correct and use people and make sure that they have correction about themselves to honor me. Nah, they had their own imagination. They thought about doing whatever it is that they wanted to do because they was men, man. Let me show you at the end of the day, we can be able to change these things. The word is right here in our mouth. You know right from wrong. It's not to say that we don't know right from wrong. You know what I'm saying? You know right from wrong. You've seen a thing before. So you know what you can do and what you can't do. But what you have to understand is that the word is right there in your mouth. You have the option to say, yo, you know what? Either I'm going to be a part of iniquity, which is wickedness, wrong, and sin, or I'm going to be a part of that color purple, and I'm going to put on that transformation. And guess what? After you put on that transformation, then you could be able to get the courage, you could get the power, and then you could get the royalty. But you have to let these people see that transformation first. Do that transformation not only in yourself, but to help those too. So understand that the word is right here in your mouth. You just don't understand it, or you never did it. You got to watch who's leading you. You dig what I'm saying? Go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. Let me show you. This is the book of Deuteronomy this is the book of the law called Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 14. But the word is very nigh unto thee, in thy mouth and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. We're going to go to the precept to that. Go to Romans chapter 10 and 8. This is Romans chapter 10, verse 8. But what saith it? The word is nigh thee, even in thy mouth and in thy heart. That is the word of faith which we preach. So a lot of people claim to say, yeah, I got faith. Put that faith to good work. Put that faith to work to let these people know the things and the madness and the way God planted this vineyard, this was not his plan. He did not expect us to be wild grapes. Okay? He expected us to be grapes and be fruitful, but not this fruitful, not wild and being like the wild, wild west. Everybody shooting and running around and killing each other for the littlest of nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is sad. This is wickedness, man. So what more could I have done in it? I gave you my word. You know my word. I gave you faith. You said you got faith. It's still going on. So what more could I have done? Right? Verse 5. And Isaiah. This is Isaiah. I went back to Isaiah chapter 5. And this is the last verse of verse 5. And now, go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. So in other words, I'm going to take away that protection. That hedge that I had you protected and how I made you so glorious. I gave you this word and you don't want to keep my word. I'm not even going to protect you no more. In fact, other nations is going to eat you up. Other nations is going to destroy you now. These people is going to trodden you down and make you the mayor of the streets. You they booty, right? Do you want to continue to be this? Nah, so when you clearly see that at the end of the day, being as though I expected out of this vineyard to bring forth grapes, it came forth wild grapes. That's not what I expected. I know that the word is in you, and yet you are still not using it. What else more can I do for you? I can't do nothing for you. So instead, I'm going to sit back now, and I'm going to remove this hedge, this protection for you. And I'm going to let these people get ahead and eat you up. Why would you allow that, Israel? Why? What is the sense thereof? After this video, somebody going to go out there and do some more iniquity. What is the sense thereof? Right? Instead of humbling yourself, trying to understand a little bit more about this vineyard. Understand the thing. We're going to go to Proverbs chapter 2. Because this is not the way it's prescribed. And I know we're better than this. But it got to be men that's willing to stand up stiffly. Not just say, yeah, I want to talk about God and I know a little bit about Jesus. If you're not really doing the work, man, get out the way. Get out the way. Be willing to be taught, at least. So you can be able to talk when you are talking and trying to talk confident. You're not talking unduly confident, presumptuously, faintly. This is Proverbs chapter 2. Now I'm going to read from verse 1 through 5. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, if you receive my words and build up your own imagination with thee, if you hide my commandments, only way you're going to be able to get these commandments is going into this book. You're not going to get the commandments out there in the street. You're not going to get the commandments shooting a gun, stabbing somebody, killing somebody, getting somebody pregnant. The commandments is not in none of that wickedness, man. The commandments is in this book. Verse 1 again. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee. Verse 2. So that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding. Verse 3. Yea, if thou criest after knowledge and liftest up thy voice for understanding. Verse 4. If thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures. Verse 5. Then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. So, in other words, we is letting you know, if you want to be protected after you realize that you're not hedged in no more. You don't have a tower that's standing over you to protect you from the things that you're about to be eaten up on, trodden down, trying to watch out how to duck away from the bullets that's shooting at you. At the end of the day, if you're not willing to incline and at least receive my words and my commandments and lay that up in your heart, if you're not searching this scripture right here, and you out there searching for a little bit of booty, you searching for a little bit of money, at the end of the day, yeah, you got that. You are going to be that person that's out there ducking them bullet strays. You're going to be that person that's going to get swallowed up and trampled over. You're going to be that person that's going to get oppressed. Why? Because you refuse to have wisdom, man. Because you refuse to actually do the commandments, man. I did not plan for you to do whatever it is you wanted to do, man. I told you to do whatever I told you to do, man. But because you don't want to be hedged in, you are going to be spoiled now, man. Is Israel a slave? Why are you spoiled? Right? But because you don't want to receive commandments, these are the things that's going to happen. And then guess what? It's people that's not even involved in the wickedness, in the wrong, in the sin. They're not even involved, but guess what? They are around it and they see it and they have to figure out, what can I do? I can't run nowhere. I can't hide nowhere. They don't even understand why it's even happening in the first place. Come on, man. We could do a lot better. Only way we're going to do better, though, is if we receive the commandments. And if you're saying, well, it's hard for me to read, listen to somebody then. That's the problem. We don't want to listen to nobody. I want to be above. I'd rather be above. I'd rather do it. And if I can't do it, I'm not going to do it. That's a sad attitude. You know all about you know how to have a disdained attitude. You know how to talk presumptuously. You know how to talk feignantly. What we don't know is that these definitions are in the Bible. We just live the definition. You know what I'm saying? These things are not, that's wild grapes, man. That's wild grapes. If you decide to go ahead and receive the commandments of God and listen to him at least, and just read this book, you're going to actually start to become from that wild grape to that grape that's actually supposed to be fruitful. Somebody that I could be able to eat that. That wild grape too sour. You know what I'm saying? Let me close this off with this last little precept. This is Sirach chapter 36, verse 25. Sirach chapter 36, verse 25. This is in the book of the Apocrypha. Where no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down, mourning. So remember, where he is letting you know, where no hedge is, where there is no protection, the possession is spoiled. If you don't have no type of counsel for yourself, an assembly or a member of an assembly that could be able to bring you and give you this understanding, you are going to be spoiled. You are going to be destroyed. It's the reason why you're going to continue to see people getting shot at left and right, stabbed, kidnapped, things of these nature. People that's talking with a disdained attitude, think they know so much and don't know nothing. You're going to be spoiled, man. You're going to be spoiled. And he that hath no wife will wander up and down mourning. Now, what did Proverbs chapter 2 tell us? At the end of the day, if you don't search her and seek her like as if she's precious gold, as she's a better treasure, guess what? You're going to think, to say the least, yeah, I'm going to get ahead and go and get me a little wife or two. I'm sorry, Israel. I'm out here I'm getting a few phone calls while I'm doing this. At the end of the day, if you think to say, well, I'm going to get ahead and go and get me a wife, that girl's going to trample over you. She's going to run over you and she's going to give you the best things of her life. But if you take on this Bible right here, you're going to be able to actually lead this woman that you do take in the flesh in the right way. Where that way, if y'all do have kids, they don't become wild grapes. They could be regular grapes. God can actually look down at his vineyard and see the color purple. Out of all of this madness that's going on, we could be able to see a thing, man. You feel me? I hope everybody can be able to understand exactly what it is that I'm talking about. I hope we actually search in wisdom instead of being unduly confident, talking presumptuously about the things that we think we know. For man think he knows anything, he knows nothing than what he ought to know. Kwam Yasharala, Israel.